welcome to another Tales from a Professional Nerd. My name is BryanCPSteele, and I will be your nerd today and any other day that you watch one of my silly little shows. First and foremost, Happy New Year. Welcome to 2026. And I think for a lot of us, more importantly, goodbye to 2025. So, normally going into the channel, or going into an episode, if you've watched the channel, more often than not, I start with The Week in Bryan, which is basically an update on all things Bryan for however long it's been since I've recorded an episode, and then we move into the topic. Well, I've actually received a decent amount of messages and comments and you know, IMs and whatnot from subscribers that you prefer The Week in Bryan at the end of the episode. I'm assuming it's because some people watch these just for the meat of the whatever the thumbnail topic is. Because I am nothing if not one to acquiesce, I am going to go ahead and from here on out, starting with episode 306, I am going to go ahead and start putting The Week in Bryan at the end of the episode, kind of before the sign off. If only to see if that works on the flow. If it messes with the flow, if it messes with how the episodes come together, then I'll switch it back. But for now, you've said it, I've heard it, time to put it in motion. Before we do get into today's episode topic, or topics, as the case may be, since it's broken down, what I do want to address something that kind of happened at the end of the end of my 2025. So the last 2 weeks of 2025, not really, but the last 9 days, were very, very hard for me and my family. I'm going to try and get through this without crying. You know me, big emo squish. I'm an emo smushmallow, and I'm going to do my best to try and get through this. But not one, but two of our beloved family pets, who have been with us a very, very, very long time, passed on. Both here at the house, both of natural causes. And it's actually a pretty beautiful story. So our dog, one of our dogs, Bruce, or Bruce Wayne Steele, as his full name is, was an Alaskan Malamute. He was 13 years old, and he was just the bestest boy. He was Natalie's physical and emotionally her stability support animal, and also her emotional support animal for many, many years. When he got toward the outside of his age, Malamutes generally only live to 10 to 12 years. When he got to about 11, Natalie had a little bit over 11. He started developing arthritis in his ankles, and just really couldn't do the job that Natalie needed him for. So he retired. So he became just our big potato, and just a wonderful. He always was a wonderful floof, but he became our house floof, and the last 6-8 months or so, he was fine, happy, jump up and down when it was time for food, and spend a lot of time laying around. Didn't do a lot of playing, but lived a comfortable life. And I'm not going to get into the gritty details, but he did pass. He passed naturally. We knew it was the day, and we actually had started to try and find a veterinarian to come out to the house to help us with his passage. And during that process, while we were trying to locate someone, I was in the backyard with him at the time, spending some time with him, and I was actually there for his last moments. It was peaceful, no pain, and I don't think anyone could have asked for I mean, obviously you could ask for it not to happen, but I don't think anyone could ask for a more fitting and peaceful way to cross the Rainbow Bridge. That was a hard day. And then literally 1 week later to the day, our 13-year-old cat, Arrow, who was Bruce's best cat friend. They used to spend time together. She would lick him. She would occasionally walk, not on him, but lay next to him and do the making biscuits thing into his fur. And they were absolutely just really, really good animal friends. This giant dog, 130 pounds at his biggest, and this little 14-pound cat. One morning, a week after Bruce had passed, I fed Arrow, gave her some scritches, and then I went to work like I do every other day. A handful of hours later, I left the studio to go see how Natalie was doing. She hadn't gotten out of bed yet, and she was having kind of a rough day. Again, still kind of mourning Bruce's passing. And I found Arrow curled up in the dog bed, laying in the dog bed, and had passed. It was very difficult. I won't say it was not unexpected. Arrow was 13. 13 is still a pretty good age for a cat, but she had been limping for several months, and seemingly for no reason. We couldn't find a joint or anything that was giving her any grief, and vet visits were showing nothing special, and it was a thing. If I were to guess, she wasn't in the greatest of shape. Maybe something was wrong with her internally, and I think the loss of her friend, I think the loss of Bruce took its toll, and so we had to say goodbye to Arrow as well. Again, naturally at home. So it was a rough ending to 2025, and it has definitely taken a bit of a toll on our collective mental states. Definitely we are sad sacks of emotion from time to time. But again, I don't waste. The whole point of me not doing the Week in Bryan was to not have all this stuff before the topic. So I will get into that, but I did want to go ahead and let you guys know that was kind of how our 2025 wrapped up. So looking forward to 2026 being better. It can't be. It really. It's going to be better. At least it seems that way. Additionally, I don't normally. You know what? We'll save that for the Week in Bryan. Let's get into the 2026 mindset. Let's do this. Let me take a drink of my totally sponsored Dubby. The yuzu flavor is fantastic, by the way, just as a side note. All right, so let's get into today's topic. So what I wanted to do is an episode. Might be kind of fast. I don't know, because I might jaw on about some things. Some things I can't jaw on about. But as you read for the topic, today is the 10 amazing things, 10 things that I'm looking forward to that are supposed to happen in 2026. Obviously, we don't know the future. Everything could change. At the drop of a hat, things could get better. I would say things could get worse, but I don't want to jinx anything. So you never know. Things might change. Chaos is a thing. Chaos is, it's all around us, and it happens. But at this moment in time, in this moment in space-time, here are 10 things, and I won't say that they're in no particular order. I tried to rank them similarly. There's definitely the number one spot exists for a reason. But let's start with number 10. So number 10 is this is I have in 2025 I got to eavesdrop slash kind of like I wasn't at the table, but I was able to like watch from afar. Connor, my son, has been playing D&D with us for a couple of years, and has in 2025 started to run some of his own games. One of them was through a service on his computer that was very technical and very map driven, and was for a bunch of his friends. It was very cool to listen to him, talk about the monsters he was creating, and he'd come to me and ask me for advice, and it was very, it was an absolute, it was and is an absolute joy, and I do hope that he will continue to run more games for lots of people, and continue to create those amazing friendships that I know that I created through D&D and stuff and role-playing and gaming when I was his age, and many of those friends I am still friends with to this day. I mean, hell, one of the guys I role-played with in high school ended up being the best man at my wedding. It is amazing. And I do want to say, so number 10 is I want to continue to see Connor, but I don't want to say blossoming, that's such a weird word, evolving as a dungeon master, and hopefully as a player, because he plays at the table with us. I would love to actually get to run something for him again. Right now I'm playing with him in Natalie's game, and but I know I would love to run something for him and his friends. I think that would be great. And specifically, I'm going to give a shout out to one particular of Connor's friends who I hear might very well watch this show. So this shout out actually goes out to someone who I'm looking forward to maybe running a game for sometime in 2026, and that's Kyton Cole. So Kyton, this is for you. Connor says that you want to meet at the table and roll some dice. So let's make that happen. Number 9. So number 9 kind of goes in hand. I guess it kind of does go hand in hand with running games for Connor and Kyton and Javen and their friends. I want to run more games of my own. I do a lot of playtest running. I do a lot of playing in other people's games, and if all goes well, I might have a little extra time this year to maybe run something. I haven't run anything just for fun that isn't a playtest or isn't for work in quite a while. And I kind of. It's awfully hard because of time constraints, and everyone's always busy and trying to juggle a bunch of schedules. But I think I want to try and run something that is just for having a good time. To get Natalie at the table, to let her enjoy some stuff, get Connor and maybe some of their friends together to enjoy some things, and just get back down to occasionally running games for fun, and not for work, and not for other reasons, just to add a little joy to life. And so that's one of my goals in 2026, is to hopefully run, even if it's just the occasional weird one-shot, even if it's online gaming, just something that gives me a chance to get back to what it was like to just play, not to be thinking about the next deadline or thinking of this class, gotta see, let's make notes and see how it works, or at the end of a session go, did everybody have a good time, because this is something I'm putting out in a year. just to play for fun, and for people to just have fun. And I think we don't get enough of that. So I think 2026 I'm going to try and run, even if it's just a handful of one-shots, to just have fun again at the table and not make it work. Number 8, which is ironic that it goes directly against number 9. I want to do more stuff for charity stuff. Not because I'm feeling altruistic or like I need to give back, but it's I have been telling people I always feel good when I get a chance to help out with charity, with charity gaming. I think that it is a reminder that we can do good things in a sea of badness sometimes. And I do try and spread my positivity far and wide. I do my best, and it is one of those things where occasionally I need to be reminded that it can be a tool for not just a paycheck. It can be a tool for good things, and not just the joy for me and my friends. So yeah, apart from doing some painting for some auction pieces and maybe try and get on some charity streams, some charity role playing stuff for Extra Life. I think I want to try and maybe see if I can't do one charitable gaming thing a quarter. That's kind of one of my goals. I don't know if it'll happen. Time is what it is. It's always fleeting, and I always seem to not have enough of it. But I think that it could be good to get out there and help make gaming do more for people out there that are not having as good a time as we might be, or aren't dealing or are dealing with some of their own things that we can alleviate with a little bit of charitable help. So I think that's my number 8. Which of course will probably clash a little bit with my number 7. My number 7 is I want to try sometime this year, and this is probably the hardest one. I want to try to take a real vacation, not a working convention vacation, not a special guest at a convention where I'm doing a bunch of things, but it's time away from deadlines and stuff like that, but like an actual vacation. And I know it's hard. It is very hard. It is very hard for me as the sole income in the house to step away from the studio at all, let alone for a weekend or, God's forbid, a week. If it's not something that I'm being paid for, because it's tough. It's rough. I actually missed out on filming season 3 of World of Shadows for Shadowrun because I could not afford the trip to Toronto. I couldn't afford that time away from the studio in the middle of a deadline storm, and I hate it. It sucks that I missed that, but I have to keep my priorities straight. I got to remember that there are bills to pay, and it is rough. So it's hard for me to take a real vacation. I can't remember the last. I mean, yeah, we've done weekends away, like to my parents' house, or like a family reunion kind of thing. But I can't think. I honestly. And Natalie might, if she watches this and goes, Bryan, it was this. I can't remember the last time that we went and did something that wasn't remotely work related, and that was not an obligation, but like it wasn't orchestrated by a collective family, or like it's been a while. It's been a hot minute, and I hope that we can do that sometime this year, even if it's just a weekend, to get away and go do something. I hope that we're going to be able to afford to do something like that, and not to besmirch my lovely wife's ideas of what vacations are. I hope that we get to do something that both of us want to do and want to enjoy. Because sometimes that's hard to hit that nail on the head and figure out what scratches that vacation itch for the both of us. Because while we have a lot of similar hobbies and similar things that we enjoy, we also have a handful of things that are pretty diametrically opposed. So I think that's something that I want to try and hopefully do in 2026 is to take even the shortest, just not work related vacation. Number 6. I'm going to take a sip before number 6 because it's going to help jolt my brain into not giving away things. So the next handful of things in 2026, most of them are work related, but that is because that again, while I do feel that someone should work in order to live, not live so you may work. I am very fortunate that I get to marry these things together. I love what I do. I don't mind working long hours because I love what I'm doing. I plan on writing stories and designing games until I can't. Retirement is not really something I care about. I know there's a lot of people out there like, I wish that I could just retire and relax. And I view that as that's like the perfect time to be more creative, to not have to worry about all the things. I do hope to get to a point where I don't have to constantly stress out about money, if you call that retirement. But I don't ever see a place where I'm not creating and writing and trying to leave my fingerprints on the world through my creations. The next handful of my 2026 hopeful / aspirations are, a lot of them are work related because work is a lot of part of my life, and so it is going to be a lot of what I'm looking forward to, because these are things that whether they're work or not, it's still stuff that I am excited to see happen in 2026. Number 6 is a secret project. I know I can't. I wish I could tell you guys I can't, but I am bound by so many NDAs, and it would be terrible for the project for word to get out before it becomes a reality. But it's already shaping up to be awesome, and I do think I can mention this because it's not talking about anything in particular. This project, there's a very, very good chance that it may very well end up being something on D&D Beyond. I literally can't tell you more than that, and that might not gel either. The industry is what the industry is, but when the contractee and I sat down, that was one of the things that really, I won't say that is one of the things that drew me to the project, but it was definitely one of the things that I heard and went, whoa, are you serious? Because I think that would be it'd be super good for me. It'd be great for the product, obviously. But I think it'd be also good for me, as I've been doing this a very long time, and 24 years now at this point, and I feel like I've gotten a decent amount of recognition. I've gotten to work with some of the people who I looked up to tangentially or otherwise. I mean, hell, I've got my name on a cover with a Gygax. Yeah, I don't know what happened there. My camera just kind of weirdly up and died. Apologies. But I've got everything set back up, and now we're good to go. As I was saying, I I've gotten a chance to work with a lot of my friends in the industry. Made colleagues out of people who, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, I looked up to as a budding designer, as someone who's just getting the industry, seeing what they can do and being like, oh my God, I hope that I can do these things one day. And I've gotten to that point. I've gotten to this chance where, conventions are seeking me out as a special industry guest. I've had projects look me up to see if I can be a part of it. My name now has become a little more attached to the industry. People sometimes know who I am. And I'm not meaning that like as a celebrity or do you know who I am? Nothing like that. But like it does mean a lot to know here, I'll give you an example. Earlier this year, a person who I would call him an acquaintance. I don't know if they're a friend because we don't really talk except on Facebook and maybe the occasional social gathering at a convention. But someone who's been in the industry a long time and he's worked on a bunch of really cool things. I saw a thread about a project that I was on, and someone random fan was questioning the veracity of that project, whether or not it was true to the license, and is it gonna do justice to that sort of thing. And this person specifically called me out and said, I'm gonna try and paraphrase, and said, I know Bryan Steele, or specifically, I know BryanCPSteele is on that project. He's one of the lead designers. He's been doing this a really long time. He does really good work. This is going to be fine. And I saw that. I saw that comment, and they didn't tag me in it. It wasn't something where someone was like trying to be like, hey, look at this cool thing I said about you. They were just saying something cool. They were saying something nice about my role in the industry. And combine that with companies seeking me out, or having someone who I truly respect as a colleague and a writer and just a generally amazing person, tell another company, I can't do this, but I know someone who can. His name is BryanCPSteele. And that kind of recognition, it's not a celebrity thing. It's not a, hey, look at me. It's they see what I can do. They respect what I can do. They respect me as a member of this industry. And to get back to the secret project that hopefully will end up on D&D Beyond, it is something like that I think will go a very long way to have more people understand that I am not just a minis game designer. I'm not just that guy who worked at CMON for a little while. That instead it's that's one of the key people who made the Essence 20 system. That's one of the leads over at Essence 20. That's one of the guys who made the Power Rangers game. That's the guy who made Thundercats. That's the guy who did Secret Project. And that's what I want to be recognized for. I want people to understand just how much work I've put into this industry, and not only is this secret project something that 19-year-old Bryan would have freaked out to know that he was getting to do, but I do think that especially if it does end up being a D&D Beyond, large release, I think that it's going to help me fight off that kind of internal. I know Natalie, if she hears this, she's going to come and just kick me. I don't really do imposter syndrome. I've worked damn hard for where I am and what I've gotten to do, and I feel while I was very lucky to get into this industry, I do believe that skill and perseverance has kept me here, and allowed me to excel. But I also think that there are days where I feel that the rest of the industry, other than people who I know and call my friends, that there are a lot of people in this industry that just don't know who I am. You know, they might hear the name and go, what's he done? And that's something that I do. That is something that I do wish. I do wish that people could recognize. Because I hate name dropping. I absolutely hate it. And I hate project dropping. One of my least favorite things to do when I have to introduce myself at a panel or a seminar or anything, or a show, or any time where I'm supposed to introduce myself, they often give you a little space to tell us who you are and why are you up here, what should they know you by. And unless that it's pertinent to the topic or pertinent to the panel or something like that, generally I just say, I'm a writer designer. I might say a couple of things that I've done, and then I say, I'm just a big professional nerd. That's hence the channel. But I would love for. It's just because I hate feeling like I'm bragging. I hate feeling like I'm trying to make myself seem cooler than I am. I would love for people to just be able to associate me with things that brought them joy. Even it's maybe particular things. Whether it's a minis game I've made, or whether it's a particular role-playing game, or a license that I worked with, or a stream that I worked on, whatever it is that brought them that joy. I want them to know. I want them to already associate that with me, because I don't want to have to be the one to try and crow about it. I don't like it. It's just not something that I do. When I'm on a panel and I hear someone spend 10 minutes talking about all these amazing things that they're working on and all these things that they've done. It might have been years and years and years and years ago, but they're still just making sure that every audience member in there knows exactly all these things that I've done. These are all the things that you should love me for. And while I understand we have to market ourselves, and I understand that I'm sort of running in a hamster wheel of, I want you to be able to recognize me for the cool stuff that brought you joy, but I don't want to have to tell you about it. It sounds so, I hate the way that sounds coming out of my mouth. But it's because it makes me feel squidgy talking about myself. And I'm not a fan. I don't like feeling like I'm trying to brag or sit there, me, he says while talking on a blog about himself. But does that make sense? Put in the comments if that makes sense. If it doesn't make sense, just scroll on past, I suppose. But to get back to the topic, geez, I'm tangenting all over the place. This particular number 6, this secret project that I'm talking about, there's a very, very good chance. I mean, it's going to release this year. I know that. But there's a very good chance that it's going to release as part of a D&D Beyond project. So I figured it out, what is happening. My new keyboard, because I talk with my hands and I gesticulate quite a bit, the enter key that will turn off, basically the fast key, the hot key that will turn off my camera, is just far enough to one side that when I'm gesticulating, I'm bumping it, and that's what killed the camera again. Sorry. As I was saying, this release, which will happen this year, I am looking forward to it releasing no matter what. Secret Project 2026, I think is going to be awesome, regardless of its launch or where it launches. But if it does get a chance to be part of a D&D Beyond project launch. I think that it's going to do wonders for the project, but also I think that it's going to be very good for me as a person, as an industry professional, for people to be able to associate something that has lots and lots and lots of eyes on with my role as lead writer and designer on that project. All right, enough of that. Speaking of being one of the lead writer and designers, number 5, the release of the Thundercats role-playing game. It's currently still at Kickstarter, and it's going to be going to print and being sent out within just a couple of months after the launch, because it's done. It's a done deal. We just have to now print some stretch goals and things. But I'm really excited for that to hit. I'm going to run a special event at GaryCon in March. Probably run another special event later on in the year at like Gamehole. Maybe even something at Gen Con or at Origins. I don't know. It depends on how the scheduling works out. But I am excited for that project because if you've watched the past episodes, you totally know this already. I have been wanting to do a Thundercats role-playing game for almost 15 years, probably for longer, but like specifically like had the concepting and things in my brain and on paper and sent out pitches for over almost 2 decades now at this point. 15 years, I think, give or take, almost 15 years. And the fact that we made it, it's real. I cannot wait for it to be in the hands of players and fans, and I look forward to hopefully getting a chance to run some, maybe even play some. I know Devin over at Six Sides of Gaming was talking about trying to maybe run a Thundercats game at one of the conventions. Well, whether or not that actually comes together, I don't know. But I'm excited this year is going to see the release of the Thundercats role-playing game that we worked so damn hard on for several months, and has been burning holes in my imagination for much, much longer. So super excited about that. Number 4, I guess it sort of works. That is, I'm looking forward to doing conventions again. I know I do constant conventions, and in fact, sometimes I think I do too many. But it is a big part of the job, is getting out there and interacting with other members of the industry, but also getting a chance to run for players and play the games, be a part of the industry, not just, he's a name on a book or he's a name in the credits page. Is being actually in the thick of things with the rest of gaming. So I absolutely look forward to it. I don't know how many shows I'm doing this year. I know I've got 3 of them in March. That is a staggering amount. It's going to burn my brain. But I do think I'm going to try to spread them out quite a bit, if at all possible, apart from March. But I'm looking forward to doing at least the normal, my normal ones, the Adepticon, GaryCon, Gamehole, Gen Con, Origins. I'm gonna try to make maybe a PAX Unplugged. That show is weird, and I don't know. It'll really come down to whether or not one of my clients at the time require me to be there, because it's a lot of travel and it's just a generally weird show for most of the people who I work for. And it's right after Gamehole and right before the holidays, so it's a high stress, sometimes low yield show with a lot of chaos involved. So we'll see. But yeah, number 4, I'm just looking forward to getting back in there and seeing my convention family. Apart from a few that I know that I am already lined up for, some details are still very malleable based off of which clients I'm going to be with at a particular show. And this industry is very fluid, so it's quite possible that I might end up having to miss one or two based off of things that are happening or company decisions. Who knows? But either way, super looking forward to doing the convention circuit, or as much of it as I can, in 2026. Number 3, getting down to the wire. Warzone Eternal. That's just kind of a general, full-on thing. I foresee big things, big good things from Warzone. Our connection with Transatlantis is amazing. It's a great opportunity to work with Bob and create a bigger footprint for the game beyond what Alex and I could create. But it has definitely shown to be, there are more moving parts, which means there are more things to worry about, which means there are more voices in the room. And it does also mean that sometimes things are not exactly the way that I think that they should be. And I need to remind myself that everybody involved wants the game to succeed. And I think that 2026 is going to show a lot of what Transatlantis games, a lot of their influence on how we are going to be able to get that product and get that stuff out the door. We have lots of stuff in the works that are that kind of, Alex and I had a thing that we were thinking about before we joined with Transatlantis, and then when that happened, when obviously the calendar changes, the methodology changes, and some of the forward goals become different because you've got different resources, you've got different access to things. You've got different people who are asking about different things within the company. So I think 2026, whereas 2025 was awesome to see Warzone hit the floor and hit the ground running hard. That was awesome. 2026 is more about, okay, now that Warzone, the Kickstarter is done, the backers are playing, stores are selling it, people want it. 2026 is going to be about Warzone finding its feet as a Transatlantis Games vehicle. Is basically to try and really come together and find a way to make this game succeed using these new resources and options and things that we did not have before. So I think 2026 is going to see a lot of very cool stuff and growth and options and things for Warzone that maybe even Alex and I were not, we never really had thought of because it wasn't something that we could do. It just wasn't, it isn't because we didn't want to, it's because it was never a possibility before. It has put a little bit of a wrinkle in the initial kind of momentum of post-Kickstarter POW, but overall, the future looks really, really good, and we just need to get there. And I think 2026 is going to be a big part of getting there. Number 2, speaking of projects that have been long in the tooth, I cannot wait for this to be a thing, Intergalactic Heroes. So you all know that I came to Evil Genius Games specifically to work on the Rebel Moon role-playing game, and I got to work with Zack Snyder, and it was awesome. I made a bunch of aliens for him, and it was really cool. I got to work with one of my favorite directors on his world, on his vision, and yeah, that didn't pan out the way that we intended it, but all of that did come together to allow me to create the Intergalactic Heroes game and book, and then even our world that Paul and Eric and I kind of took my pieces and his pieces and Paul's pieces and we created the Throne World Saga, which is the foundation setting for Intergalactic Heroes. And all of that being said, we're talking thousands of hours, hundreds of thousands of words, and we are now to the point where we know at some point in 2026 we're going to be able to actually crowdfund the main book, and potentially even maybe some of the add-on books. And I can't get into the details of this other stuff that's potentially being attached to this game world, or this game game series, a series of rule books. But if all goes well, and the main book is done, it's edited, we're starting to get art for it, layout will hopefully commence. The concept of it being a finished product going into the Kickstarter would be fantastic. But it's been over 2 years now in the making, because of some of our own hiccups, our own stuff that had happened at Evil Genius, and just in general, it was a project that took a hot minute to get off the ground. And knowing that we're in 2026, we're in the year that we should be able to get it created, make it a reality, set the wheels in motion that people will, one of those, all right, it's cool, it's backed, it's made its money, here's the manuscript, start seeing final art, like that kind of thing. I think that's going to be a big benefit, not just to me, but to the project. And I'm very much looking forward to this year seeing that project. I can't say come to life, because we've been working on it for so long. It's a living thing for me. Hell, I play in an Intergalactic Heroes playtest game regularly. But it is knowing that it is getting ready to cross more thresholds toward being something that is in people's hands and being played out in the world, and hopefully succeeding as a product. I think that's going to be one of my big moments in 2026 is when other people can see and feel and play the final Intergalactic Heroes. Which brings me to my last big thing of 2026 that I am excited about. You guys have been with me long enough that you know that my wife Natalie is, I don't want to use the word suffers, because that paints a weird picture, but she has myasthenia gravis, which is you can look it up. It's an illness that is not ever going to get better, but it is causes what outwardly look like seizures. It has some muscle issues. It's just generally a bad thing. It's a no good thing, but it's been the reason why we have been fighting the state of Indiana for her to warrant her disability benefits. We've been fighting it for almost a little over 4 years, and it has been long. It has been expensive. It has been difficult, to say the least, between appeals and court appearances and troublesome letters and trips to her neurologist or trips to specialists that put her through hell to test to see whether or not she can do a job that, all these things. It's been really, really rough. And I can say that I'm not going to get into the details, but we did, as of, it was late 2025, but it actually, her disability becomes real in 2026. We fought a very long, I'm trying not to cry. We fought a very long, hard fight, and sometimes it is very difficult to see an extremely conservative, extremely red state like Indiana, to get them to see human suffering at all, and get them to understand what the average person actually goes through. And it took us a very long time, but we eventually got there. And it will be hugely beneficial to the family. It will be hugely beneficial to Natalie as a person, because I think it will help her mental state of feeling, for the last 4 years, she's had a lot of kind of self, not self-doubt, that's not the right word, but like a lot of negative feelings about her situation, and that, that she's not contributing, and that, she needs to, that she's got to find some way to all of that can now be set aside, can all be shoved over here, because now the powers that be recognize that her illness is what it is, and it's not going to get any better, and that why I do okay and I'm able to support my family, it's hard, and I have to take a lot of gigs, sometimes too many, in order to keep things going. And also, big, huge, massive thank you to any of you guys who have ever donated to either my Patreon or the channel's PayPal address, or the Cash and Venmo app, whatever. Anything that's in the descriptions of the videos. Any of you who have donated, you have no idea how much that actually means to the channel, to us, to collectively, during this process. It's been rough, and knowing that 2026 is the first year where we will be able to actually do some of these things that Natalie and I have talked about, fix some of the things around the house that have been labeled as that's got to be a when we can get around to it. Nope, that's got to be a when we can get around to it. Oh, that broke. Well, time to drain the nest egg to fix it. And just knowing that we should hopefully be in a situation where it's not always deadline to paycheck to paycheck to deadline to deadline to paycheck to nope, not going to sleep this weekend because I've got to get this done so I can get this contract in. Knowing that hopefully this year will be the start of us being able to start breathing a little bit, stretching ourselves, actually taking time off, taking that vacation I mentioned about, like that's why it's my number one thing. And I hate that I got to talk about money. I hate talking about money ever, but just knowing that we finally won the battle against my state's stupid ass government going, no, she could totally just stand there for a few hours and do this. When the neurologist and her career therapy person says, no, that's not possible. Just finally getting on the other side of that is such a massive, huge, tremendous Titanic weight off of my shoulders and off of hers as well. It's the reason why it's my number one for 2026. Obviously, all the other things collectively, I think that next year is going to be amazing, or this year is going to be amazing. But it is the reason why it's my number one is I think that all the other things are going to be able to be enjoyed in part because of the amount of stress that is going to remove from our lives. So that's my number one, is we fought a damn hard battle and we got there. And I'm absolutely ecstatic about it. All right. So that was my 10 things. And I know that we went long, and I know I had weird technical difficulties, so this is going to be a weird-ass video. But I do think that 2026 is going to be a good year. And I think that we're going to go into it. I'm going to go into it with eyes open and just feeling good about all things. That's what I'm going to continue my daily positivities on Facebook. I am going to continue to try and look toward the brighter things as much as possible. And if it is one of the darker, horrible things that I can't do anything about, I don't mind muting it. I don't mind setting it aside and go, you know what? I can't do anything about it. I cannot let it drag me down. And I think that's going to be, if I want to do a New Year's resolution, which I don't like them, but I think I'm going to do my damnedest not to let the bad stuff take away from my good stuff. I'm not going to say I'm going to ignore the bad stuff. And I'm not going to say that I'm going to not have bad stuff. Because that's all part of life. But I'm going to do my best to try and not let it diminish the joy and the cool things that are going to happen in 2026. All right. So if that's all you cared about, if you don't care about the week in Bryan, you can now stop the video. If not, here to listen. So it's actually been 2 weeks. And personally, I told you, it's been kind of a rough 2 weeks here at the Steele household. The holidays themselves were fine. Low key, the kids were with their other parents, so it wasn't a big deal. I slacked off on the gym a couple of times because weather was kind of gross, and I was like, I don't want to drive in this. I'm staying home. But I'll get back to it. I promise. 4 times a week, I'm gonna get back to it. I will. Hobby-wise, I didn't do anything this last week because I had finished up a bunch of D&D figures for my niece, who, she said they were great. Makes me happy that I get to do things for her and her fiance's D&D table. That's a recent thing, by the way. That's why I did the fiance thing. I am planning this weekend to get some real good painting time in on my charity piece for Gary Con. And a couple of scenario pieces for Adepticon, but I think those are just going to kind of go hand in hand because their color palettes are similar. Gaming-wise, I played a bunch of Helldivers 2. That's pretty regular. And I got one Warzone playtest game in. I need to get another one in there. Natalie's actually been, I don't know, hounding me, but Natalie's been trying to get me to get her Cybertronic on the table again. So I gotta get off my butt, and maybe this weekend I'll take a break and try and get a game in with her. That'll be fun. Give it a shot, especially now that I've got some Dr. Diana's here at the house, so she can build a force that's a little more fluid than just my demo figures for conventions. And then so the work stuff has been busy. I've been working on that secret project, although it is currently at a point where I'm waiting for the client to look through it to make sure whether or not there's any changes I need to make kind of last minute before we move into the next part of that secret project. But I think the next part's going to be really easy. This week, I put a bunch of words down on my adventure for the Wardens of the East Marches organized play, the Gamehole organized play system from Gamehole Publishing. Season 2. I had an adventure in season 1, and I loved getting to work with those guys, and I loved the final product they put together. So immediately, as soon as they said they were putting together a team for season 2, I was like, ooh, me, pick me. So I'm hoping to get that done in the next week or so. I have to finish putting together the edits for the Intergalactic Heroes book before it goes on to the next stage. I'm about halfway through ratifying those edits because it's a big book. Still working on the novel. I am about to venture into the next chapter, or the next section, that will hopefully go very quickly. Because it is about a character that I'm very familiar with, so that should be a very, very easy thing for me to do. And then I still have a couple more chapters after that, or a couple more sections after that. I need to get back to it. I have been very delinquent in that, but it's because I have had to do all these side gigs in order to keep the roof over my head. Speaking of side gigs, I am about halfway through, about a third of the way through, a whole pile of monsters for a book, a campaign book that's going to be out sometime next year, which I love making monster blocks, so that's fun, and they give me a little bit of leeway as to what I can make with the art that they're giving me. So that's super fun. Continue on Warzone, work on Warzone continues, and I believe this month should be, if everything goes well, I should start getting to do a little bit more with Xeogenesis again too. So busy, as always, very busy. But coming into the next couple of months, I should be able to kind of ease up on the gas a little bit, and maybe do some things that are not crash course deadlines. So we'll see. I'm often accused of overworking myself, and those people are probably right. So before I let you go, I do, as that this is the first episode of January, I get to announce the December comment raffle winner for from episode 302. The Randominator spat out the thread started by Lost Heretic on episode 302. You won the December comment raffle. So when this video drops, I will go into your comment. I will tell you to contact me, and then you should contact me to give me your address so I can send you your prize pack. Previous prize packs, prize pack owners can tell you it's pretty cool. It's random, but it's pretty cool. So please reach out, let me know, and so I can get that to you. So congratulations, Lost Heretic, from episode 302. I know we've been sprawling. I know this video's gone long, but it is the first video of the year, so what are you going to do? And we've had technical difficulties. That happens to everybody. So without further ado, I guess just please, everybody, let's start the new year safe. Let's be kinder to each other. Let's, get your shots, wear your masks if you have to, wash your hands, wash your clothes, wear deodorant, do all the things you're supposed to do. Just try and make every room you enter a little happier than when you got there, and I think that we're going to be okay. Just until further notice, and until next week, be safe, have fun, and play some games, because you know I'm gonna. And rest easy, Bruce and Arrow. We loved you.